Hey everybody, it's your pal Trandell, and we are back playing some more Once Human. So, in this video, we're going to go over my top 10 tips and tricks for new players to help you thrive in this wonderful world that we are in, and hopefully make your new player experience a little bit smoother than mine was. These are all things that I have learned during my time playing this wonderful game, and I wanted to get this video out because I keep on seeing and hearing the same questions over and over again in the Once Human Discord chat in game, and not only that, but one of my new Hive members that I just got into our Hive last night, wonderful guy. Me and him spent quite a few hours last night just grinding content, helping him catch up. We got the first boss out of the way, the Shadow Hunter, and he had all kinds of questions. And I was helping him out, and then I figured, this morning after I was thinking about it, why not make a video to help everybody in the Once Human community learn some of the things that I've learned, and again, like I said, just make that new player experience helpful. So without further ado, let's pull up our handy dandy infographic that I made. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. There we go. That should work. Tip number 1. Do your journey log, folks. This is a great resource. Do not ignore it. Don't consider it just, basic, tutorial stuff. This is a great resource that's going to help you learn some of the most important game mechanics and game loops in Once Human. But not only that, you get quite a few really good rewards from this that will help you during that new player experience. It will help you level up because you do get XP, but another really important item I want to touch on, and this is something my new Hive mate didn't even realize, it will also give you energy links. Now, what energy links are in the game world of Once Human is kind of what you see right here. Let me move this. I'm going to have to do this multiple times, aren't I? Let's see what happens if I put it up here for right now. So energy links are the basic currency in the game. You will use this in multiple scenarios. Currently in the closed beta, there are a couple vendors in the towns that will have some items you buy from them. Mostly consumables, things like healing items and stuff like that, which are definitely important. But the other big thing that you will use energy links for is when it comes to crafting gear and weapons. So whenever you want to craft a new weapon, it's going to cost those energy links. So if you don't have any, you won't be able to craft that weapon. So definitely try to, keep an eye on that. And also for calibrations, which are basically just one of the many ways you can upgrade your weapons and gear, it's also going to cause energy links. So do your journey log, because that's going to give you all kinds of really cool stuff. The other thing it will do too, if you notice, there's multiple steps in every single one of these journey log entries. When you complete all of them, you will also get even more rewards, and this is stuff that can really help you out. These are scrap items and materials you can use, all kinds of fun stuff. star comms, which are used in the season shop for like cosmetics and things like that. So definitely bust out your journey log. There's some really, really cool stuff in here. And like I said, it's a great way to help level up. It's a great way to get that energy link currency. And it's a wonderful resource. And like here's one right here that I've already done and went to do it, and I wanted to save it so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So right here, just by building a fermentation tank, I'm going to get some experience, I'm going to get some energy link, and now that both of those are done, now I also get the reward for completing that whole track. So yeah, definitely work on your journey log. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which is super, super important, take your time building your first base. It's going to be the place that you will spend a large portion of your game time. Make sure you have the resources available around you that you're going to need, and make sure it's in a location that you're going to be spending some time in. When you first start the game, you're going to be over here in the Dayton wetlands. So some really good spots I would honestly suggest. If you notice, my hive base is set up here on the coast. Set your first base up on some coastline, kind of like where this one is, for multiple reasons. The first main one is seawater. You need seawater to craft salt. Salt is a super valuable material because that will allow you to craft dehydrated food on the meat dryer. You put your salt here, you put some raw meat here, and you get preserved meat. Now, preserved meat is important is because it's one of the few food items that you get at the very beginning of the game that does not affect your sanity survival stat negatively. And it also doesn't spoil. Outside of some of the rare food items like the canned fruit and the canned meat that I've received out of chests and stuff like that, the preserved meat so far is the only consumable food item that I've encountered in game that we can craft that does not spoil. So having a easy to access source of seawater is super important, and it will make your beginning section of the game a lot easier. Now, the other suggestion I would make for your very first base in the Dayton wetlands, build somewhere in this area, for the seawater that we just talked about, but the other big thing is for the location, how close it is to the Sutherland family orchard. Why is this location important? One word: beets. This is one of the only locations in the beginning area that I have found so far where you can find beets. And beets are another really, important material and resource because you can turn them into sugar, and with sugar, you can make bread. Bread is also one of the few items early on in the game that you can craft that does not negatively affect your sanity. And let me show you a couple early ones. So here's some of the earlier ones. And if you notice, they will give you some energy, they will give you some hydration, but all of them also negatively affect your sanity. That's why having salt for the preserved meat and having sugar for bread are really important because these food items do not negatively affect your sanity, which is absolutely amazing. Another quick thing to touch on when we're talking about base location, if at all possible, try to find a location where you can get both on the coast for seawater, but fresh water too, because the other thing you're going to want to be able to do really early as soon as you can is pick up your fishing. Fishing you can learn through the Mimetic skill tree, and you learn it pretty early too. You get it right off the bat. Fishing will allow you to obviously catch fish, which is another great food item. Once you catch the fish, actually, let me show you all real fast because there's a little trick to this. Where am I? I am right here. Let's see. I haven't figured out exactly how fishing in seawater works, but this should be fresh water over here, hopefully. Just to give you all a quick tutorial on how fishing works. Let's make sure there's no alligators. Alright. So basically, you learn the fishing skill from the Mimetics tree like we just talked about. We'll check it out one more time. And like I say, you get it right off the bat, right after you finish the tutorial. And then once you learn it, then you craft your fishing rod at the simple workbench. You craft yourself some bait at the supplies workbench. Don't waste your time with the doughfish bait. I have not been able to make this work anywhere yet. I'm sure there's somewhere where it does work. So far, the regular bait has been the one I've been using because it actually works. All right, so find yourself some fresh water, which you will be able to tell. Basically, fresh water is any of the river systems that aren't on the coast. I'm hoping this will actually work and I don't need to run further up, but we'll find out. Actually, there is a quick way to check real fast. Let's pick this up, because they have changed a bunch of the water locations. Okay, they did change that finally. Alright, so we're going to have to go somewhere different. We'll go to, the teleportation thing is bugging out right now, of course. Alright, wanted to show you guys real fast, but anyways, it's pretty straightforward. You equip your fishing rod, you put on your hotbar, you equip it like this. Use your left mouse click to engage it, and then just follow the steps. Get you some fish. The fish will end up in your bag. And then once the fish is in your bag, you actually have to right click on it and use it to get the actual fish fillets that you need to craft the grilled fish. So try to make sure you're in an area that has easy access to both seawater and fresh water. In the beginning zone, pretty much right here, if you can get up in here, this should be able to work, because I know for a fact this is fresh water right here. So you should be able to use that. This might be considered seawater. They actually, the devs, just very recently, like sometime today or last night, released an update that did update and change the locations of seawater, because before, for some weird reason, none of this coastline had seawater except for like really weird spots, and now all of the coastline has seawater. So yeah, so I would say anywhere in here, or even close by, even if your base is like right here, you're still relatively close. The movement speed in this game is pretty fast. You should be able to just run down to the coast and get you some seawater. But yeah, the grilled fish is also another great food item to use, because again, it doesn't negatively affect your sanity. So, take your time on your first base. You're going to be spending a lot of time there. Make sure you have some good resources available to you to, again, make that process as smooth as possible. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the map. And these things all kind of go together. The map, your task, and pins, especially pins. Pins are super helpful in the game. So, let's give all you out there a quick rundown on how to read your world map and some of the important things on here. The first thing you're going to notice is that, let's try moving this down here, make it a little bit easier. Okay. Trying to think the best place to start. The best place to start would probably just be to look at the different icons. So my map is definitely going to look a bit different than yours, for the main reason that I do have pins everywhere. We'll talk about those in a little bit. But the main things I want to talk about is some of these basic icons that you will find as you start exploring, what they mean, and their varying levels of importance. So, probably one of the first icons you're going to find is going to be the town of Deadsville. You can always tell where the towns are in the game when you find them by this like bluish raindrop gear thing. If you see that on your map, that is a town. For that region, so far, every region that I've seen only has one hub town. That's where the vendors will be. That's where your main storyline quest will most likely lead you to and come from. And there's also teleportation towers in every single hub town that I've encountered so far, that when it does work, which I don't know why sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Yeah, all of them can't be used right now, which is really frustrating. But make sure you pick up the teleportation in every new town you run across. So this is most likely going to be the first icon you encounter in the game. Now, after that, the two next ones you're going to find are these little tents, which are basically, honestly, they're mostly used to farm scrap and items like that. When you first encounter them, it'll kind of give you an idea of the different rewards that you can find there. Basically, the different type of scrap materials. And you notice that they change. So let's say there's a certain type of scrap that you're looking for, and this being the beginning. Yeah, so here's a good one. So this has a higher probability to find these materials. So if there's a certain material you need to craft something, look at these reward icons and you'll have a general idea of, yeah, I can probably find stuff there. So the little tents are where you're going to go. They're basically just locations where there's a couple buildings, maybe a couple shops. Most likely there will be enemies there, but they're smaller locations, so they're easier to farm. The next thing you're going to encounter and see are what we call enemy strongholds. These are super, super, super important for multiple reasons. A, they're bigger locations. There's more enemies. There's more scrap to find. So there's more things that you can break down for materials. But this is the most important aspect of strongholds. As you progress, as you go through the storyline, you will have to defeat bosses in the game to progress, to get stronger, to learn new skills in the mimetic trees. To defeat, just to fight those bosses, you have to open what they call rift gates. Rift gates require a special item, and I'll actually show you where you can find that. So if you go to your backpack, you will notice there's multiple tabs. The first tab is for all your tools. So any tools you make will go here. Next is consumables. After that is any materials you might find. Things like scrap, wood from trees, different ores, rocks. The special tab and the deviant tab. The deviant tab is where you're going to see what deviation creatures you've encountered and captured. But the one I want to talk about right now is the special tab, because the special tab is where the coordinate items you will need for those rift gates to be able to access the boss in that area. And here's another quick tip. If you're ever not sure how you got an item or where you get an item, if you notice, there's an actual text where it says how to get exploration. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you got that item. These greed realm coordinates are what you're going to need for the first beginning stage of the game, the Dayton Wetlands. You find these in mysterious boxes that can only be found in strongholds. And this is how you can tell what a stronghold is. A, it will always have an objective. B, it will always have a mysterious treasure. The mysterious treasure is what you need to get that coordination, that realm coordination item, so you can access the rifts and fight the boss. You can only open the mysterious treasure chest once. And then you'll, for that area, and that's it. So it's really, really important that you know how to read your map so you can tell where you've been and which objectives you've cleared, which mysterious boxes you have cleared, so you know how many items and where you can get those items, so you can open the rifts and fight the bosses in that area. The way you can tell, if you notice, some of my strongholds have this green check mark. If you see this green check mark, it means you've already completed all the objectives for that stronghold. Now, you can still go back and get the other crafting materials, like, the barrel and the other scrap items and stuff like that, but you can only complete the objectives once. And again, you can only open the mysterious treasure chest once. Now, you can go back and farm it for storage crates or the weapon and gear crates. Those you can open multiple times. There is a cooldown window, but you can keep going back to those strongholds and use them for, farming locations, especially if there's one that you really do enjoy going to. So that's how you keep track and how you read the map. Strongholds will always have this little icon, the purple icon. So the purple icon is your objectives when they're not completed. So again, when you're going through and you're doing the main storyline and you're trying to figure out, oh man, I need these, Greed Realm coordinates. I don't know where I got it. You always find the coordinates, and this is for the next stage after the Dayton Wetlands, the Broken Delta. And I'm going to theorize that every stage works like this, that to access the boss for that area, you need to get the realm coordinates, and you will get them from the strongholds. So that's how you read the map. That's how you tell where the strongholds are. It's anything with this little, like, file box purplish symbol. And then, like I said, you mouse over it, and it'll be able to tell you, hey, have I done my objectives there yet? Have I found the mysterious treasure there yet? And that's how you'll be able to read that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to the map, because, and these are all questions my new Hive member had for me last night. There's a couple big things when it comes to, like, keeping track of your tasks, keeping track of the main storyline quests and stuff like that. The main storyline quest will always show up as this gold icon right here. Anything that has a gold icon, that's the main storyline quest. That's how you can keep track of that. Now, as you progress and you start picking up other quests and things to do like that, those will always show up in blue. So the blue diamond task points on your map, those are side quests that you've picked up, and they're optional. You don't have to do them, but you can get some really great experience, and again, energy links. Energy links you're going to want to pick up whenever you can, because again, you're going to need them to buy stuff from the vendors, you're going to need it to craft and upgrade your gear, and you'll also need it for teleportation. Teleportation costs currency, and depending on how far away you are from said tower, it can cost quite a bit. Like, I am all the way down here, so if I try to go to, like, this tower, as you can see, it's going to cost 202 of those energy link currencies, but let's say if I just want to go here, it's only going to cost 78. So yeah, do your optional quests, folks, because there's a lot of really good stuff in here. The other thing you will find too, by doing your optional side quest, are these guys right here. These you can use in the hub towns. There's a special vendor there that sells some really cool items. Big ones being weapon accessories, and we'll talk about those a little bit later on. So yeah, do your side quests. Those are super important. Get those done. Now, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to maps are pins. If you notice here in the bottom right hand side of the screen, you have the option to place pins with your middle mouse button. Basically how that works is you just boop, pop it down, and let's take a quick look at this menu right here. This is actually an amazing feature, and I wish all games like this had this, because as you can see from my map, I've used it quite a bit, and it's been super helpful. So let's say you're running around, you're exploring the world. Let me get rid of this real fast. And you come across a rare resource that you haven't found a lot of. Using this as an example, the beets, what you can do is you can place a pin down, and then you can pick icons. I've been using the little leaf icons for, like, any, plant materials and stuff I want to keep track. And here's the other thing too. If you go ahead and hit your enter key, it actually also allows you to change that to whatever you want. Again, you can call it beats, whatever. And then from that point on, you will be able to keep track of where that item was. That way you can go back and farm that location for more. And you can do all kinds of stuff with this. I've started keeping track of where I found rare recipes. Last night, when me and my new hive mate were running around, I was helping them, pick up some of the items I had encountered during my time in the beginning zone. Unfortunately, at that point, I hadn't been using the pin option as much as I do now, which you can tell. I got pins everywhere. But it's a great option to have, so you can keep track of important stuff that you might want to go back later. Another thing I've been keeping track of too, there's all kinds of weird and amazing things to explore and find in this game. I've encountered jump puzzles. I've encountered like other different types of puzzles that have given me rewards. There's all kinds of cool stuff in the game that you want to keep your eye out for. This is where I found the Hopper Deviant. If you've seen my YouTube video on that, I dropped a pin on there. That way I know going forward where that deviant was found. The other thing I've started doing too is I've started keeping track of where I'm finding the mysterious treasures. That way I can help any new members of my hive or any friends get them too. So that's the other thing I've started doing is whenever I find a mysterious treasure, I've started, pinning that on my map so I know for future reference where that mysterious treasure was. So that's another really cool thing you can do with pins that, that can help you out. And I just started doing that, yesterday. Like here's a couple. So for any of you out there that are new players and you're still in this beginning zone, so for this stronghold, the mysterious treasure box is on this building in this upper right-hand corner of the town on the roof. Over here, it's going to be in this location. I believe it's one of the buildings. I should have put more information, but at least now you know, hey, it's not down here. I have been keeping more detail as I, again, learn new things and learn new tips and tricks. Like this one actually says, hey, it's on the roof. So yeah, that's something else you can do with pins. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, talking about tasks and stuff like that, do your daily task. That is another way where you can get a great amount of experience and more energy links. Where do you get daily task? Daily tasks you can get at the daily town vendor. Every town should have one. You will find them. Has a little clipboard icon above their head. Refreshes daily every 24 hours. And they'll give you different types of tasks to complete. Some examples will be like, hey, hunt 2 animals in the Dayton wetlands. And you'll get a nice chunk of energy link and, experience. Gather 3 plants in the Dayton wetlands. These are all relatively super simple tasks to do. And you're going to be doing these things anyways. So every day when you log in make sure you remember to head to the hub town, talk to the daily task vendor, and pick those items up. That way, you can get a nice, boosting experience and get some energy links for things you're going to be doing anyways. So yeah, that's another great tip. Do your daily tasks. Now, number 5 is going to be a lot, but it's super, super important. Because some of the systems in this game are really in depth, which is great. It's amazing. That's one of the things I love about it. But for new players to Once Human, or just new players to the survival MMO genre in general, it can be a little bit overwhelming, and you might not know where to look for certain things. So let's talk about gear, blueprints, mods, and weapon items. How do we get here, first of all? If you haven't touched any of your presets on the PC, you hit K. K will bring you to this option window right here. Now, from here, let's start with gear. So this is where you're going to find all your gear, any weapons you have equipped, any armor you have equipped. It's going to be where you see your basic stats. You can also hit C, and it'll give you a more detailed breakdown of all your stats. And as you progress, as you acquire more weapons, more gear, whether it's through crafting or receiving them out of a box or off of enemies, you left click on it, and from here it will show you all the gear you currently have for that slot. So you're able to equip 2 range weapons, basically guns or the crossbow, and 1 melee weapon. And you you left click on it, and you can switch them out through here. Same thing like this. So if I wanted to switch out of that, I could. So you can have 2 range weapons, 1 melee weapon. Your gear basically works in the same way. Anything you've crafted, left click, and then you can switch out from there. Now, the next thing I want to talk about are blueprints. Blueprints you will find up here. Blueprints you can receive mostly by just playing the game. You can get them out of weapon crates. You can get them off of elites and stuff like that. These are how you learn new blueprints to make new items. And here's a perfect example of one right here. So let's say you open up your blueprints and you notice, hey, I got this blueprint I don't recognize, and it has this gold puzzle piece symbol. That means that's a new blueprint that you can learn. And how do you learn them? You press and hold fuse, the F key. Now, here's another trick, because this is something my new hive mate did not realize. Let's say it's an item that you just do not like. You know you're never going to use it. It has no use for you. Is it worthless? No, it is not. You can actually use that for another purpose. This sniper rifle here is a perfect example. I know I am never going to use this blueprint. So what you can do with blueprints like this, if you take a look at the screen right now, you might notice something. All the blueprints that you have, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a name. This one's Huntsman. This is Wanderers. This is Stranger. And if you notice, that coincides with what you're seeing right here. Every weapon, every piece of armor in the game falls within one of these blueprint families, as I call them. Like this one right here, operator. I somehow, somewhere have a blueprint for that. Yep, right here. And this is another way how you can tell if you have a new blueprint. If you see a number right here in one of these sections, that means you have a blueprint for that family. What do we got here? We got Blast Suit. Okay. Blast Suit is part of the operator family. So, you can either learn it. Now, I actually do want to learn this one, so I'll go ahead and create it. And now I've just unlocked that blueprint. Going back to that weapon, the one I'm never going to use, well, this is part of the Hunter family. Now, what you can do with these fragments, these blueprints, is let's say you have another item in that same family. Kind of like my Sandstorm shotgun right here. You can actually use that blueprint to enhance other blueprints within the same family. And you can see I've already done that once here. And how you do it is, if you notice down here, see how it says Hunter Blueprint Fragment? You click on this item right here and it will show you any other blueprints of that same family that you can use to basically destroy and donate experience to make your other blueprint more powerful. I've already done it once for my shotgun, so when you first do it the first time, it only costs 120 experience, which is exactly what one blueprint gives you, at least a fine blueprint. And at that first level, once you have the experience needed, you can hold to enhance, and then it will enhance that blueprint. I've already done it once, so now instead of 120 experience, I need 240. So basically, I will need 2 of these Hunter blueprints of this tier to enhance it. So if you do find a blueprint and it's something that you know you're never going to use, you can use those blueprint fragments to enhance other blueprints that you know you will use. So that's another really important aspect of the game that a lot of people don't understand is there. So moving on, let's talk about the next thing in our list, mods. Now, what mods are, they're a type of enhancement item that you can put on your gear and weapons to make them more powerful and better. When you click on this mods tab, this is where you're going to be able to see all the different mods you have received in the game. And if you want to be able to tell real fast if there's a new mod that you've received that you haven't looked at, look for this little gold arrow. Where you see this little gold arrow on any of these tabs, that's going to tell you, hey, you got a new mod here, you want to check it out. And the new mod will also have that gold arrow. So now when I click on it and look at it, you notice the gold arrow goes away because I've looked at the mod. So these are really, really awesome. When you're first starting out, all the mods or most of the mods that you find will be this grayish silver color. These are super basic mods. These mods will only have one attribute on them, and that will be the core effect attribute. And they have different ones. So you'll find them for SMGs. Let's see what else I have, if I have any other ones. But yeah, you'll find them for melee weapons. And here's another quick tip when we're talking about mods. I've seen this a lot, and my hive mate also had the same question. He's like, yeah, I got tons of knife mods, but I have nothing for my baseball bat, or I have nothing for the torch. So this isn't a mod for knives. It's a mod for melee weapons. It's all melee weapons. So you can put this on your baseball bat. You can put this on your torch or any melee weapon you have. It's not just knives. And it looks like the only basic one I have is this. But yeah, basic mods will always be this grayish silver banner at the top. And then from there, you'll start finding green ones. Greens are where the real fun starts to happen, because you will notice not only is there that core effect mod, but now there's a random attribute. The random attribute, if you notice, has a tier next to it. Now, to get full effect of that random attribute, it has to be equipped on a piece of gear or weapon of the same tier level. I think I got rid of all my tier 1 gear pieces, but I can use this as an example. So, let's say this was a tier 1 body piece, right? And I went to put a green mod on there. You would still get the core effect. So you would still get that torso damage reduction. But since that gear piece is only a tier 1, you would not get the effect of that tier 2 mod, that random attribute. You would have to put that onto a piece of gear or weapon that is also tier 2. And here's actually a perfect example of this. Let's go back to our mods. Headpieces, okay. So let's look at my headpiece. If you notice, I have a blue tier 3 mod on my headpiece. Now, I can still equip it, and as you can see, it's giving me the core effect. It's giving me the tier 2 mod, but I'm not getting the effect from the tier 3 mod, because this is only a tier 2 item. But you can still use it. And the other cool thing about mods, as you can see, let me move this out of the way again, because now it's in the way again. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner of the tooltip, you can unequip mods. So it's not a one-time use. Once you put a mod on a piece of gear, you lose it like how other games do it. No, you can unequip it. And then let's say later on, when I do upgrade this hat, make a better tier 3 hat, I can then use that mod and put it back on there with, and just keep on moving it around whenever I want. Which one wasn't? It was this one right here. So yeah, that's how mods work. The weapon mods work the same exact way. You right click on it to modify, and this is going to go into the next section I wanted to talk about. Weapon accessories. So, you do have mods like we had on our armor. They work the same exact way as armor mods do. But with weapons, you also have accessories. Now, these guys get super crazy. You can do all kinds of stuff with these. This weapon automatically came with this reflex sight on here. And as you can see, it gives this weapon added functionality that it would not have without it. So you can do all kinds of fun stuff with this. Now, there's a downside to weapon accessories. Let's move this back down here. Unfortunately, if you notice, unlike with mods, there is not a weapon accessories tab. I've put in a suggestion on the Once Human Discords asking the developers to give us a weapon accessories tab. The reason why is because unlike with mods where, hey, you can just click here and see all the different mods you have, what they go to and stuff like that, we have no option for that for weapon accessories. So if you pick up a weapon accessory in-game while you're playing, the only option you currently have is to go through every single weapon and try to hunt it down, which is super, super annoying. I've picked up quite a few, and I had no idea which ones they were for, where they, what slots they were for. So I literally had to click on every single one of my weapons and click on every single slot to find out which items I had picked up. And here's an example of one I picked up for the pistol. So if I equip this to my pistol, it's going to give me the option to zoom. It's going to increase my aiming speed and the mobility. So weapon accessories are awesome. They are amazing. They're just also a little bit of a pain because, again, as of right now, we have no actual centralized location to keep track of our weapon accessories, which is a real pain in the butt. Last thing I want to talk about when it comes to this whole section of the weapons and stuff like that, as you progress through the game, one of the many items you will be able to learn to craft are higher levels of ammo. When you first start off, all your ammo is going to be just basic copper ammo. But at some point, you will learn how to craft better ammo. This is copper rifle AP ammo. This is almost a completely separate thing on its own. And when I first started crafting this, I did not realize that if you want to change between the two, you actually have to equip it. So let me show you how to equip your different ammo. So let's say you're just out and about hunting, fighting regular mobs and stuff like that. As you can see, I have my regular copper rifle ammo equipped. But let's say you're getting ready to fight a boss and you want to use your good ammo. You click on here and it will show you all the different types of ammo you have for that weapon. And as you can see, there's quite a few. So from here, let's say going back to fighting a boss, now I can equip my higher level ammo. And you can see it does play a difference. It will increase the damage of your weapon. So that's how you change your ammo. Again, one of the tips I would give you is if you're just fighting regular mobs, if you're just out and about exploring or you're hunting wildlife for meat and stuff like that, use your lower tier ammo for stuff like that, because the higher tier ammo is definitely harder to craft, and that's why I don't have nearly as much of it as the copper stuff. I've got like thousands of rounds of copper rifle ammo, but only 547 of the greens, because it's quite a bit harder to craft. Copper ammo only requires copper ingots and the weapon powder. Whereas for the green copper ammo, Now it requires Stardust Source. Stardust Source is definitely a rare resource material, especially for the earlier part in the game. And again, going back to our previous tip, how to get, you get it from extraction sites and securement silos. There's also a chance to get it from some chest. Also, I've gotten some Stardust Source out of certain rare chests too, but that's definitely rare. Your main source of Stardust is going to be from these extraction sites and the securement silos, which that is something I did forget to to showcase in our map. So you can always tell your securement silos from this silo icon right here on your map, and it'll actually tell you. And again, kind of like how we were talking about before, look at the rewards. There's our Stardust. And you also get mod items from here too with the securement silos. So again, if you want to tell, hey, what rewards do I get from something? Well, that's how you figure it out. This, again, here's another quick way. This is a workshop. It has also the ability to get fuel. Fuel you will need for any vehicles you get later on, but you'll also need it for any oil lamps you have in your base. So that's pretty much everything that you will need to know when it comes to gear, blueprints, mods, and weapon accessories. There is one other thing with mods, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The next thing I want to talk about, actually, we're there right now, so this is a perfect example. So, your disassembly bench. Oh, I need to drink some water. Here's another quick trick that a lot of new players don't realize they can actually do. Your disassembly bench is used for more than just breaking down scrap. You can break down weapons. So let's say you pick up a bunch of, melee weapons or something. These glass bottles are a perfect example. You're going to see these everywhere. You're never going to use it. You can actually break them down for materials. Or same thing, like I said, let's say you upgraded one of your weapons. You'll never, use that weapon again because now you got a newer one. Well, here you go. You can go ahead and break down that weapon for the material from it, just like you do with scrap. You can do the same thing with armor. The other thing you can do is you can break down mods. Now, when you break down mods, it's going to give you these data element mod resources. These are super important. You will use these to basically kind of craft your mods into better mods that you can use. Let me take a quick look. Damage versus elite enemies. We can get rid of that one. That's actually a pretty good one. Get rid of that one. Accuracy. Pistol damage. Damage against great ones. That's actually kind of nice. Stability. That's kind of nice. Damn, I got some good mods. Shit. AoE range. Oh, man. Alright, this is fine for right now. I just wanted to get a couple of these. Alright, so what do you use those data elements for? Let's go back to our mods. And remember how we were talking about those random attributes? Well, if you notice, right here, at the bottom of the tooltip where it says modify, if you right click on that and then you mouse over, this list will pop up. This is a list. Here, let's move this out of the way. We'll go over here. And now I moved my tooltip. Really, guys? So this is a list of all the available mods that you can roll onto this mod. All the attributes you can roll. So you got drawing speed, you got weapon handling, holstering speed, ADS, aim stability, accuracy. So let's say I really did not want accuracy on this mod, and I kind of do want accuracy. Well, no, that's only my pistol. Yeah, we can do this one. That's fine. What you can do is, if you notice right here, it takes those data elements. You click on this, and then you hold F. Now, instead of accuracy, now we have this ADS aim stability. And you can keep on rolling it. Now, kind of like what it says right down here, every single time you re-roll it, it's going to cost more and more of those data elements. So just be cognizant of that. It's going to cost more of those elements every single time you roll it, so don't blow through all of your elements on just one mod, you know. But if that's something you want to keep on doing, you can. Let me find one that's actually worthwhile to me. What do we got here? Rifle. That's already got rifle damage. Let's see what I can find. Ooh. Weak spot damage. Okay, here's one. So let's say I don't have enough, of course, because it's a higher tier item. But anyways, you get the idea of how that works. So yes, your disassembly bench is used for more than just scrap. Specifically these mods. Breaking down all these different mods to those data elements so you can re-roll your mods. Now, let's move on to survival stats. So you will notice in the bottom of your screen your survival stats. Moving left to right, you have your stamina, your sanity, your thirst, and your energy. These stats really, really matter. And it's not just about dying. They will have a positive or negative effect. Kind of like what it says right here. Max HP increased and the damage, melee damage boost. But it will also affect exactly what you can even do. So melee is a good place to use an example. So with your melee attacks, you have your basic attacks and stuff like that. If you right click, you can do a heavy attack. But here's a good little combat tip for you. Me personally, I love fighting in melee. For one of the reasons being that if you are sprinting towards an enemy and you do your attack, if you've noticed, watch what happens. See how I kind of do like a shoulder ram animation there for a moment? That's an actual attack that you can do when your energy is full. That shoulder ram attack, when you run into enemies with it, will actually knock them off balance if they're like humanoid size, the same size as you. as us, the players. If it's like the size of a bus or something, yeah, your shoulder ram attack isn't going to do anything. But anything that's the same size as us, that shoulder ram attack will actually knock the enemy off balance, allowing you a handful of seconds to just like waylay them with your melee weapon. And if you're keeping your melee weapon leveled up and progressing it along with you, those 1 or 2 seconds that the enemy's off balance is usually more than enough time for you to either just straight out kill them or get them really close to death. So that ramming, that shoulder ram attack, again, you just sprint and then you just hold down the left clicker. That is a great combat engagement tool. So definitely keep track of your survival stats. They really do matter. They will have a huge, again, either positive or negative effect on your gameplay. Stronghold objectives we already talked about. The main thing with those is, again, those mysterious treasures that you need for the coordinates to get bosses. Teleportation towers. We've already talked about those a little bit. When you find them, they will be blue. Now, being a new player, any teleportation towers that you have not discovered yet will be in this grayish kind of color, and it will tell you target point locked. To unlock it, you basically run to it. You'll be able to interact with it. Once you interact with the teleportation tower, at that point, you will be able to teleport to it. When it's working, I don't know why mine aren't working all of a sudden. Let me double check something real fast. I'm not still in a team, am I? Okay, no, I'm not in a team. Yes, when the teleportation towers actually work, any of the ones that you have unlocked, you'll just be able to click on it and then hold F to teleport to. So those are teleportation towers. Take your time when you're exploring. This is a good example down here. Let's say I'm down here, I'm doing some quests and stuff like that. It's worth the added time to pick up the teleportation tower. Because, don't run all the way back to town or teleport back to town when you're already down here, because let's say at some point you do want to check this out. Well, now you got to run all the way back, when if you would have taken the extra couple minutes just to run and pick up this tower, you wouldn't have to. So as you're exploring, as you're doing your quest lines and stuff like that, take the added time to pick up any towers that might be nearby. Last thing we want to talk about is, let's talk about the Deviant Formulas. If you've seen my video, the guide on your Deviant creatures, the securement and stuff like that, you already know what I'm getting ready to talk about. But these are really important. So, Deviant creatures are little creatures that you will be able to find and acquire as you play through the game. Bosses will give you a deviant creature after you defeat them. But you can also find deviant creatures out in the wild. This is a perfect example right here, our Hungry Hopper. I actually found this just roaming around the world. Again, this is why exploration and stuff matters in this game. And I was able to capture this Hungry Hopper. If any of you are curious, there's a video for that. So I did make a video showcasing how to find the Hungry Hopper. Now, when you get your Deviant, again, there's a video for that, so I'm not going to go into all of that. And you get it to a point where it's secure, it's giving you power, you can learn exclusive formulas that you can only get through the deviant powers and stuff like that. Once you learn them, you'll always have access to them. These things are crazy powerful, folks. Some of them are absolutely amazing. And I will give you a quick example of one that you will get very early. So the first deviant that you're going to get is the Butterfly Returns. You'll get this after completing the tutorial. One of the formulas that you can get from it is wings. This is super powerful. Basically what this does, it's a consumable item that when you use it, and you can tell if you have any buffs on right through here. So if you see a number right next to your sanity, that means you have a buff on. Wings last 2 hours. So for one, it's a super long buff. It's not, oh, you get 30 seconds or a couple minutes. It's 2 hours. But let's show you real fast what it actually does and why it's so powerful. So normally, if I were to jump off my roof from this height, very bad things are going to happen. And yes, you can die from fall damage if it's from high enough. But with my wings buff, what happens if I jump and then I press jump again? I can glide. Think Fortnite. Same exact thing. And kind of like after you got through the tutorial and you first glided into town, same exact thing. That buff is super powerful and it has so many uses. Just running around getting from point A to point B. Let's say you're exploring the map, you're running around, and you somehow ended up on top of a mountain and there's no way to get down. Well, guess what? Without your wings buff, you would have to backtrack, find a way down, and waste time that way. But with your wings buff, you would just be able to jump off the top of the mountain and then glide down wherever you want. So that's one usage of the wings buff that is absolutely fantastic. The other thing you can do with it is, where is it? This mysterious box right here in this location, the only way, well, there might be another way. I haven't tested that out yet. But the only way that I know of right now to get it is by using your wings buff. Basically, you get on top of this mountain right here and jump and glide across the gap on top of this roof. So that's another option that you can use, and I've done that quite a few times to get, storage crates and boxes and stuff like that. If I'm on a higher building and I see there's a weapon crate or something on the roof next to me, I can just jump off the building and glide down to it. So Deviant Formulas are amazing. Definitely take the time to secure your deviants, make them happy. That way you can start learning those. And again, there is a video that I made for that that guides you through that process of deviant securement and how to make them happy. So, I know that was a long video, folks, but again, these are the top 10 questions and tips and stuff that I could think of that new players are asking about all the time. That, while I was playing with my new Hive member last night, a bunch of the same questions he had. So I wanted to make a really in-depth guide to help new players in our Once Human community. Again, just have a better, smoother experience than what I had, and just to help make the game more enjoyable. So I hope the guide helps. I hope there's something in here that all of you can find valuable. And if any of you have any other questions, I am always open to inspiration and suggestions. Again, I try to make guides and I try to release information that I myself found helpful, or again, that the community in general is always asking about. That's my whole purpose. I want to try to help out and share as much info as I can with the rest of the Once Human community. So, as always, folks, thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. I love the fact that my videos are starting to catch on and that people are starting to notice them. And again, that they're finding a lot of value from them. I'm already, I'm starting to get a lot of comments in the Once Human Discord. People thanking me for my videos, and that just means the absolute world to me. So I appreciate you all. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and until next time, this is your buddy Trandell, signing out.